Hello VC, I'm back with a short video this time showing some of my recent pickups. The big box store that I'd been visiting I think has kind of run out of new stock, especially the older jazz stuff I was looking for. I was hoping that after they had a big sale recently there would be more of the used vinyl coming out, but I was told they really didn't have much in back. So lately I've been hitting up the thrift shops locally, and as well as some of the antique malls in the area. And these are some of my recent finds here. This album I actually had seen at the Salvation Army thrift shop a while back and hesitated on buying it. It was only $1, but it's in pretty rough shape, but I decided to go back and buy it because well, it's an interesting record. It's on the Riverside label, which is normally known for jazz. This record's from 1958, but it's more of a sound effect stereo demonstration type record. This is Sports Cars in Stereo on the Riverside label, and it's got the black. I've seen a blue Riverside and a white Riverside label with blue print, but this is black with silver print. It's pretty rough shape, the record, but yeah, cleaned it up really well at the vacuum machine, and nothing left but the sounds and the pops and the clicks. But it's an interesting listen nonetheless, and it's just kind of neat to have because it's early Riverside press, and cool cover if nothing else. You hang it in the wall in one of those record album picture frames or something. And then from the Habitat for Humanity thrift store, they got a really horrible rack where they put their records in. You really have to struggle to dig out what you're looking for. But the good thing is I don't think it's picked over that much because it just gets frustrating as hell. Everything's packed in there so tight. But picked up a couple interesting albums. This one's on Columbia. It's an old Columbia 6i. This is Frankie Lane with Buck Clayton and his orchestra, and featuring on trombone you've got Irby Green and then J.J. Johnson and Kai Winding. Big names on trombone back in the early jazz days. I shouldn't say early, but mid to late 50s. And this is a Columbia 6i press. Frankie Lane was, I guess, kind of a crooner, did some country type stuff, but always liked jazz, so this is kind of a special occasion where he recorded with Buck Clayton and his orchestra. Actually pretty good listening. I enjoy this one quite a bit. I've never really been one into jazz vocals, but I've really enjoyed this one quite a bit, and the music as well. And then from the same store, a couple of Chet Atkins albums. I'd actually bought some Chet Atkins albums about a year ago, and they're good stuff, but I got nervous about having too many records, so I unloaded them, and now I'm buying them back again. But this is a living stereo press in RCA. This is Our Man in Nashville, Chet Atkins. Doesn't have the fancy living stereo label, but still pretty cool. Great guitar player. Good to have in a collection. I've been collecting a lot of guitar instrumental music lately, and so I'm looking for the early Chet Atkins records. Another one, this one I think is a little bit later, The Most Popular Guitar, Chet Atkins, another RCA living stereo. And these were $1 a piece, so well worth it, I think. Actually, they're $2 a piece. And then another one I found, I was interested by the cover, because it kind of had the 80s look. He looks like David Sylvian back in the 80s after he left Japan, sort of. You know, the name didn't ring a bell, so I went home and did a little research, because it's on the Virgin UK label. And of course he's the singer, or former singer, of Ultravox, the first singer. This is one of his early, I guess not early, but maybe third solo album. pretty good stuff. He handles most of the instruments, the music on this. There's one track produced by Mike Howlett, who I think was a bass player in Soft Machine at one point. But $1, so record's in great shape. The sleeve's a little beat up, but not too bad. So it's an interesting addition to the collection. Okay, and then I went to a antique mall up the road a little bit in a little town. They have a flea market on the weekends, but they have an antique mall that's open all week. And I saw a new record booth in there, and I was kind of excited. You know, I hadn't seen that before. It'd actually been probably a year since I'd been there, but there was a booth, just one booth that was all records, a little booth, but had some good stuff, and I was glad to pick it up. For my Ahmad Jamal collection, I've got about 6 records now, I think. This is the Ahmad Jamal Trio on Epic. I think this one was first. He had 2 records, I think, on Epic. I've got the other one as well. It's got the yellow, I've gotten to sleep now, but it's the yellow label with the kind of the black strobe lines on it. And then along the same lines, some interesting early jazz. Hank Crawford on Atlantic. Hank Crawford, I've seen his before on like CTI's Kudu label. Later on, I guess from reading up, I understand he was one of Ray Charles' musicians, and out of Memphis, Tennessee, if I'm not mistaken. This record was actually, I don't know if you can make that out, there's a little label on there. This is a demonstration record. Apparently in the record store it is open, you could play it, but it said this is a demonstration record. If desired, bring to the counter and we will pull a fresh one from our stock. And so that was from Poplar Tunes. I believe that was a store in Memphis, Tennessee. And Hank Crawford is, I guess, apparently a native of Memphis, Tennessee. So that's kind of neat. Atlantic first pressing, stereo, kind of cool. $4 on the Ahmad Jamal and the Hank Crawford, so I couldn't pass those up. And then from the same booth, this was more expensive, but I could not pass it up. This is Stanley Turrentine. This is a first pressing Blue Note. Hustlin', which his wife at the time, I guess, Shirley Scott, Hammond organ player, and Kenny Burrell on guitar, can't pass that up. Bob Cranshaw and Otis Finch. Has the original Blue Note inner sleeve. And I'm not going to take the record out, but it's got the Rudy Van Gelder stamp and a little Plastilite P symbol, looks like an ear, and the dead wax. It's got the correct address and everything on the label. It's a first pressing. $20. The sleeve's a little rough. It's got a little tear there, but a little bit of water damage on the bottom. But the record is in like very good plush shape, so couldn't pass that up. And then from another booth in the same antique mall, I found a couple records that caught my eye. One is an artist I hadn't heard of. You know, I don't think she recorded 2 jazz albums and then was out of the game. But it's Peggy Connolly on the Bethlehem label. That's an early West Coast jazz label. I don't see too many Bethlehem records out there. When I do see them, they're kind of pricey. This is $4. There's the actual label. But she's got kind of the Bethlehem stable of players playing on this record, which makes it worth owning. Let's see. Stan Levy on drums, Pete Candoli on trumpet, Stu Williamson on trumpet, Russ Garcia, the leader of the band, is kind of his Wigville band. He recorded an album on Bethlehem called Wigville. It's apparently much of the same musicians recorded in 1956 in Hollywood, California, and featuring Jimmy Geoffrey, I don't know how you pronounce his name, on baritone sax, famous sax player, West Coast. This is actually a DJ sample copy. The record's pretty beat, but you know, cleaned it up on the record cleaning machine, and it's definitely listenable. It's alright. She was, I guess, a dancer and an actress as well. Had some bit parts in some movies, and according to Wikipedia, was supposedly a love interest of Frank Sinatra at one time. Attractive woman. And then from upstairs in the antique mall with the cheap records, the dollar records, I found another guitar player record. This is Al Caiola, New York guitar player. There are about 4 or 5 guitar players out in New York from about the same time, born right about 1920. Al Caiola, Tony Mottola, can't remember the other two, but you know, they served in World War II and came back and kind of took jobs to pay the bills. Al Caiola signed with United Artists and recorded several albums from them. Tony Mottola was on Command, that's Enoch Light's label. Al Casamente, that's another one. But they were playing each other's records, a lot of times uncredited or under a pseudonym, like Al Caiola would be Mr. X, and Tony Mottola would be Mr. Guitar. Because they get in trouble if they recorded on some other labels, you know, another label. So they go under the pseudonym. But this is the theme from the Magnificent Seven. I guess a movie back in the 60s, no, 50s, late 50s I guess, early 60s. I haven't seen the movie, but I recognized the theme as soon as I played it. It's Al Caiola and his orchestra, I believe. Yeah. Instrumental stuff. I haven't really given it a good listen yet, but I really like his playing. I'll make another video sometime about all these old guitar players. And then, let's see, I went back, I saw these 2 records and didn't really have the money to pick them up that day. Or I could have, but I decided to wait. They were kind of lower priority, but I went back the next week and picked these 2 up. After I did a little research, I listened to them on YouTube and see if I like them. This first one, this is actually $2. It's 50% off on the booth. This is Billy Muir, Tough Strings, great guitar hits. This is Billy Muir and his combo. Billy Muir was either out of New York or New Jersey, kind of like Al Caiola. In fact, they played on some of the same records together. This one is very much like early Ventures, like early 60s Ventures. In fact, a lot of the same tunes. Apache, Walk Don't Run, Perfidia. Very, you know, twangy guitar. Very nice. Very good record. On Cap. Cap is the label here. That colorful label. Kind of cool. Cap stereo. But I pick up pretty much anything by Billy Muir I see, or Al Caiola. Interesting early 60s. Another guy who'd gone off, born right around 1920, went off to World War II and came back and you know, took some jobs to pay the bills, kind of, but recorded on the side as well. And then the other record I came back to buy, another $2 record that's 50% off, is Gene Krupa, The Big Noise from Winnetka, recorded at the London House. It's a live recording, I guess. This one's on Verve. Looks like Morton Downey Jr. Anybody remembers him from his talk show? Very loud, brash guy. Just kind of a funny coincidence the way he looks there on the cover. Cigarette in hand and all. Good stuff. A lot of drum breaks on this one. I've got another Gene Krupa record, an earlier one from probably the 40s. It was recorded. But this one has a lot of great drum breaks and stuff, and a good band. I hadn't really heard of the musicians before on this one, but I really like it. Good solid record. And then finally I went to my local record store, and my birthday's coming up, so I decided to buy a few of the pricier records that I could justify. These are birthday gifts to myself. And so I picked up a couple on impulse. Really nice shape. First is Man from Two Worlds by Chico Hamilton. Just in beautiful, beautiful shape. That early impulse gatefold. This one's $8. I couldn't believe it. I'll take that for $8. It's got Gabor Szabo, guitar player, Charles Lloyd on tenor sax and flute, Albert Stenson on bass. It's looks like from the sticker there, this was actually distributed by someplace in Brussels. So I don't know how this came to be. I'll be interested to know how this worked its way around the world. It's got the beautiful impulse gatefold cover and early Bob Thiel impulse production here. Just lovely. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. I'll probably wait till my birthday to drop these on the turntable just to do it upright. But I'm sure I won't be disappointed with Chico and Charles Lloyd there. So another impulse I picked up, I've got some more records by her, but this is Shirley Scott on the Hammond organ for members only. And on this one, on one side of the record, it's got a small orchestra conducted by Oliver Nelson, and then the other side it's her trio playing. Again, I haven't had a chance to listen to this one yet. I'll wait till my birthday. But another early impulse. Looked at the labels, and the dead wax are all proper for first pressing. Another one, it's got that silver label. Looks like it's distributed in Brussels. Very interesting. Another lovely gatefold interior, the early impulse quality packaging jobs here. Nice. This one was $15. So a little pricier, but well worth it. I'm not gonna turn that down. The store the guy finds amazing collections of jazz records, and if I had told him before, if I had $1,000, I could blow it in there in a day easily. I'd buy up half his collection. And then finally, or not finally, I've got two more. Chico Hamilton again. This is Drum Fusion on the Columbia label. I think this is from about 62, 61, 62. He had some lineup changes, and now he's got Charles Lloyd here, kind of taking over with the composition, the tenor sax and flute, and Gabor Szabo, Hungarian guitarist there, recorded for Impulse as well. And I think Albert Stenson on bass on this one as well. But this is it's a Columbia 6-eye pressing. Upside down. Very nice shape. It's got a few scuffs on it, but nothing too bad. It's got the original, I believe, original Columbia sleeve, which is always nice. A lot of thrift store pickups, they never have the original sleeve. This is actually looks like a demonstration record, not for sale, whatever that means, you know. Sometimes it means something, sometimes it doesn't, but yeah, another Chico Hamilton, Charles Lloyd for the collection. And finally, what really got me excited and I just couldn't leave behind. I love guitar player music, like I said. This is Kenny Burrell, Night at the Vanguard on Cadet. Originally Argo, had to change the name because there's an Argo label in England, I believe a classical music label. But this is a Japanese pressing. Haven't actually opened this one yet. I was going to wait till my birthday to check it out. Hopefully it's the right record in there. But $20, couldn't pass it up. Love guitar players, love Kenny Burrell, and Japanese pressing. Gotta have it. So that's it for this round. I'll be back with some more of my big box store finds. That'll be a longer video, but see you next time.